So oftentimes we hear about people trying to make it in the music business and become a star. But for Jonathan Ulman, he's made quite a name for himself, being the guy behind the guy, oftentimes heard but not seen.
Everything is cold. Check, check. Once up, I done told him I'm ready. Baby, strap on your seatbelt. I've been at work doing that dirt. I'm about to puff on that L. Since high school life got too real. 2 kids, a mortgage, child support payments, low wages and bills. Now why am I popping them pills? My daddy left me when I was younger. I heard that it was drama, beating your head like a bad head, hot like an African summer. Let's ride, don't stop, let the beat go. This one for the people, man. Some of them think that he's insane. Don't rock to the popo, screaming out that you gotta let freedom ring. He the king with the mic now, and he ain't gonna put it down. Pound for pound, the best of home. Slick talk on my heart's a metronome. Been known for the poem, my hand to God, and I'm trying to beat the odds. Everything is gone.
For a lot of people who are watching this, they might not know what a session drummer is. Everyone knows what a drummer is, but what is a session drummer?
So a session drummer, in a sense, is someone that's independent. They sort of don't associate with any particular group or artist. They're hired gun, for lack of a better term.
Ask recording artists around Boston, and there's a good chance they've heard of Jonathan Ulman. He's internationally recognized and has been named back-to-back Session Musician of the Year by the Boston Music Awards. He's been all over the world and is widely considered to be Boston's most in-demand drummer.
How did you get into drumming? Let's just go way back in the time machine. How did you get into
Started last week.
No, you've been doing it for a little longer than that.
When I was about 10 years old, I was taking piano lessons, and the piano instructor actually told my parents that it was not the right instrument, or I wasn't focused enough, and that I should try something else. So we gave drums a shot. My parents borrowed like a snare drum and a cymbal, just a cymbal, no stand.
Just the cymbal
just
itself.
The cymbal itself. My brother used to sit in the living room with a dowel and sit next to me and hold it so I could play the cymbal and the snare at the same time. And I just kind of fell in love with it. My brother used to be really big into hip-hop when in the late 80s and 90s, so I actually learned to play drums playing to old hip-hop records, which is the drum patterns are very repetitious, and they're kind of like in a pocket. So if you learn that style, you learn very good timing.
Being in the pocket, can you describe what it is to be in the pocket?
Sure, so the pocket is sort of this, you find this groove that the rest of the music sort of sits on top. It's kind of like the foundation. And having a good pocket is having a really good groove or something that's really stable, that you know, keeps the foot tapping and the head nodding. For a studio drummer, that's pretty much what'll get you the most amount of work.
Timing is everything, and while he may not be a flashy drummer, his best trait may be his consistency.
John's instrumental, literally. You know, often the artists that are coming in here don't have the backing of a major label. John has a really good understanding of being that pocketed drummer, you know, that is the backbone of the songs that you love.
After more than 20 years, Jonathan has perfected his craft, learning various styles and genres of music.
I have had no shortage of opportunities to play, you know, anything from world music to jazz to pop rock to rap, and, you know, completely fulfill my needs as a drummer.
His days are mostly spent in the studio, laying down tracks at the Bridge Sound and Stage in Cambridge. Sometimes he's asked to be the heartbeat for songs he's never heard, for artists he may never meet. A few years ago, he did that for 30 songs on an album.
They were sort of skeletons of a song. Hey, this is what we're looking for, this is the tempo. And then 2 years later when the record came out, I was like, wow, that's what that groove went to. And it's really cool for that process. And then other times you're in a room with all the people, you know, making the music. So it's never dull.
So when you're in that studio, you can kind of put your head down and throw down a track, but when you're out there on the stage, you do have an opportunity to have that flash. So what is it like for you to be out there in those occasions when you're on a stage?
Yeah, you know, even regardless of being on stage, I'm not a flashy drummer. I don't tend to twirl my sticks or anything like that. I still maintain that certain role as that I'm the timekeeper for the rest of the band, because if I'm off, then the show's not going to go good. If you can see it, if the whole band turns around to me and it was just like that, then I know like something.
That's the look.
That's the look. That's what I don't want to see.
So the thing about Jonathan is that he's had the opportunity to play with some pretty well-known artists, and every now and then he still lets his inner fan come out.
I'm be on a stage opening up as direct support for the Roots and be backstage like, oh my God, I want to talk to these, you know, to these people, you know, and that's kind of what keeps it exciting.
So one of the bands he's hoping to check off his bucket list is Pearl Jam. In fact, he used to dream about playing for the grunge icons as a kid.
I was about 11 years old, and I think it was 90 or 91, but Pearl Jam's 10 had come out, and I remember getting it. And was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this grunge music? And so I learned the record front to back, like from the moment it started to the end. I learned all the drum patterns and all the beats, because I was sure at age 12 years old that I was going to be at a Pearl Jam show, and the drummer couldn't show up, and Eddie Vedder's just like, oh no, is there anybody in here that can play this record? And I would be like, yeah, me. You know, one, I'd never been to a Pearl Jam show. I don't even think I had gone to a concert at that point. And two, I only learned the record. So if they did anything else, like I would be like, no, Eddie, you can't do that. No, we're going to go to song number 3.
Jonathan actually got to meet Eddie Vedder years later while working at City Sports in Boston, and he told them about the dream he had as an 11-year-old kid.
I'm up to the front, and he's like, you know, buying T-shirts or something, and I was just like, and he's like, say something, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's just like, oh, you know, or however Eddie Vedder talks.
That's a good impression.
and it was Eddie Vedder, you know, it was him, and in like a 30-second period, I think I like blacked out and just told him like everything that I've ever wanted to tell him. I learned your record. I was gonna play, but if your drummer didn't come, but he was there, but I didn't even go to the show. Like I was just babbling, you know, and he was very gracious, and he was like, oh, that's very nice of you, you're very kind, you know, we're playing in Mansfield. He made me like write my name down. He's like, oh, you should come to the show.
Sure enough, it was a night he wouldn't forget.
They were like 8th row, and it was the greatest experience of my life, and I still get like chills thinking about it, and I still haven't played with him, but you know. Someday. Eddie, if you're listening.
While going on tour with a big band would be great, it's not something he's chasing. He's got a wife and a daughter at home where he likes to be when he's not in studio.
You know, I can do a studio session during the day here and then have a gig at night. So I can actually double up, even triple up on my opportunities by not being on the road for 8 months out of the year.
After all, why chase the gigs when more and more big acts and opportunities are coming right here to Boston?
I mean, it used to be where if you were traveling, you know, you just kind of stop in New York, you didn't have to go any further than that, or if you were coming over from, you know, Europe, it's like you go right to New York. But now Boston is a market that you have to hit, and a lot of that is because the Boston music scene is so vibrant.